More Arduplane tuning, a better outcome, but not the best. I don't really see why we're trying to reinvent the wheel and create new flying things to deliver people and stuff to places. It's all fancy, it's all cool, but is there really any point? Let's look at a car. A car of 1920 looks very much like a car of 2020 will. Even if there's no driver in it, there'll still be a wheel on each corner and some sort of propulsion. And aeroplanes and drones are going to be just the same. So why not take, as I've said before, a manned aircraft and either convert it to be completely autonomous or an optionally piloted vehicle? One great OPV that's out there is the Kaman K-Max. The meshing rotor helicopter is a heavy lifter of note, and the US Army love this. They absolutely love them. But anyway, let's move back to the Twin Otter. They stopped making them in 1988 after 844 aircraft had been made, and a company, Viking Air, picked up the rights on them and started producing them again in the first one rolled off the production line in 2010, and by 2015 75 of them have been made. So the Twin Otter is known. There are people that can fix it all over the world. There are people that can fly it all over the world if it's an OPV, and aviation authorities of course have all the paperwork for it, something which, you know, if we bring a new aircraft, a new drone into service, a new multi-rotor, a new air taxi in Dubai, the whole world's got to learn how to use it first. You might have guessed it from this picture. Here comes my first excuse. Real aircraft, of course, have got operating handbooks, and in those operating handbooks, you've got all the how-tos and just how they work. We're not blessed with that advantage, and I think perhaps we should start thinking this way. We all need to be making operating handbooks for our aircraft. Anyway, in our case, it shows us that for minimum control, so really close to the edge for that short field landing, we'll need flaps 10 and 64 knots, but the recommended approach is flaps 37 and 74 knots. So it would be really nice at my chosen practice airfield if we could do that. Anyway, let's delve into the flying part. Well, here we are then. Welcome and bienvenue to Royal Air Force Chivenore, as was where I started in 1984. That's my first place where I served in the Air Force. Anyway, just got airborne. We've been pounding the circuit at Chivenore here, so I've just reset the mission in Mission Planner, having done a circuit and we're around again. So that's why we're off to one side of the runway then, because it drifted off while I was considering things. But yeah, in the climb, standard circuit up to 1,000 feet basically on the downwind leg, all normal, all good. I chose Chivenore, and not just because I was there, but because it's sea level, and we're running this on QNH, nautical height, or above sea level. And it makes working out the numbers easier because it's all just about above naught. You can see I've tuned, or I've added the rudder tuning, and I took a couple of hours to get this circuit pattern right, and I'm still, to be quite honest, not overly happy with it. That's Bideford in the background for anyone that's been there, and it's a power station coming under the nose in a second. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves. A circuit is a circuit, and it takes a lot of time. So obviously we're just positioning for the downwind leg now. This is the turn. We're about 1,000 feet AGL, and coming up shortly, I set up do set speed, do set. I can't remember what the exact command is now, and it doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work. Perhaps it's because of the simulation, and really I think it's the area that I'm sort of most. Oh, that long line down there on the left, that's a railway track there. That is the old disused railway track, and if you are a James May Toy Story fan, that's where he ran the train, the toy trains racing to Bideford from Barnstable or Blandkey, wherever it was. And we used to go drinking at a caravan park underneath the aircraft on the right there. But anyway, that's another story. Different days, many years ago. So yes, I was rather hoping to start containing the speed now. Remember, we saw the control speeds earlier, and also what I would like to be able to do was start rolling flap out by the time we turn to north there, and really get everything ready. if I was driving an aeroplane for real, I would like to get, this is the point where I'm looking over my shoulder, looking at the runway and getting the sight picture right, getting the speeds, headings, getting it all tidied away. This really is where the landing starts, is this position. You get the numbers right here, then everything could be all right by the time you get to the bottom of the hill down the way. But as you'll see, as we come around the corner, we've not contained the speed, and the speed will start increasing. And yeah, like I say, there's not what can one say really, other than I would rather it was be in the correct attitude now. By that I mean that we would be setting the attitude for the approach speed. I've forgotten, was it 74 knots? I can't remember, whatever it was on that placard. So I'd be setting that with pitch, and then I'd be adjusting the throttle to look, let's fly by. I'd be adjusting the throttle in order to control my rate of descent whilst keeping that speed correct. But what you have to end up doing with this is really approaching pretty jolly low. So it is sort of a gated point that I wanted to be. I wanted to be commanding speed from 0.7 here. You see we're pretty jolly low. Very jolly low, in fact. And look at it adjusting there as best as it can for, I'm guessing, to sort the speed out. So you can see the threshold markings coming up. We can see the touchdown area just beyond the threshold, and of course you can see where a load of tyre marks are. That is pretty accurate. That's where you're supposed to touch down. So that's the touchdown area coming up. The aiming point is the solid bars further up. And on this one, we're a little bit short, so let's restart the mission and go again. It changes subtly every time. I'm only going to show you 2 circuits because, yeah, just like the last video, the paint I realise will be drying on this. Just on the left, down the end of that track, not shown here, used to be the sewage works. And the main point of that, or mentioning that, is it was terrible for birds. They love the sewage works, and so you often had to go down there and scare the birds away. RAF Chivenore was a fantastic place to be a 18-year-old. Obviously lots of seaside, and we used to sneak off down to off to the west there. That's the main tourist beaches of Saunton Sands, Broughton Burrows, Saunton Sands, and yeah, a lot of fun to be had there. A lot of surfing as well. A lot of the UK surfing. And North Devon. We're in North Devon, up in the top left-hand side of the sticky out bit at the bottom of the UK. Just up from Cornwall, really. This, like RAF St Morgan, was one of the bases that the Royal Air Force had to shut because people had too much fun at it. They really did. So big tourist area. A lot of fun. Royal Marines and Special Boat Service use the place now for whatever they need to use it for. So yeah, turning back downwind again, and already, yeah, if you're flying a real aeroplane, this is where you'd already be getting in your head the speeds that you're going to need halfway down here, and start getting everything contained for the approach. And yeah, that's what we're missing, really. That is what we're missing in this. I'd like the ability to put the handbook speeds, pilot operator handbook speeds, into my aircraft, into the setup portion of my aircraft. I'd like the ability to have QNH, QFE pressure settings on the ground control station, so that became more logical. What else would I like about it? Yeah, just better speed management, that's, I think. But of course, there's a really, really good chance that I've been setting this up completely wrong. In fact, it's more than a really good chance. It's probably 100% chance that I have not grasped how to set this up properly at all. I'm getting away with landings, but that is probably all it is. I said I was going to try some runways in Lesotho. Well, there's no way I'd ever stop. I'd never stop at all at the moment. And also, I don't think in the X-Plane simulation you can deploy flaps yet. I will have to ask Tridge, he's the man that would know. If I could deploy flaps, then that would help a great deal. It seems a pity that I can't place a touchdown point rather than a start landing event from which you then sort of have to guess where it's going to go. I know you can work out your glide ratio and all that very accurately, but yeah, it doesn't seem intuitive. I'd rather have a click on a spot where we could land. And I suppose we've also got to put all of this, again, we've got to put this in. Sound being very negative, aren't I? We've got to put it into context. This is an autopilot or autopilot firmware developed by a community of very clever people all around the world that is not designed to be flying, or was never thought to be designed to fly heavy aircraft with real world settings. And talking to that, I think the crosswind maximum crosswind component was 24 knots or something like that. I don't think I would have managed to be doing any landings at all if I had to put that amount of wind in here. So it's something else to think about. So I'm just on a whinger fest, aren't I, really? That's not good. I am super impressed with this, and this is good enough. I think I'm going to start my little autonomous air virtual cargo carrying to a couple of places day in, day out, and see if I can improve things. It's a good enough start, and I'm sure with practice I'll get better at it. Let's see where we go this time. You say everyone is a little bit different. Different things have affected it as it's made its way round. I know I'm just north of the actual centre line, but this is where it started, where it at least hit the runway. If I did that, okay, there's the aiming point, and this time we are just past the aiming point, so that's all right. So where can the real one go? Well, we'll look at this Mission Aviation Fellowship in New Guinea. If we could get the autopilot doing this sort of approach and landing in simulation, it would be absolutely amazeballs. It's going to speak for itself, this little bit of video. I should probably shut up whilst we amaze ourselves. What I like about this image is, look how the airfield's hidden by the width of the undercarriage there. 15 metres wide, 450 metres long. That is quite a target, isn't it? Look at that. Not a lot of room for error there. But calm. You see the windsock on the left? Flat calm. A one-way in, one-way out runway. We have lots of those here. Now, I wonder what the road trip was like to get there. And I think we can instantly see that if you could take the people out of this, it would be a lot safer if it was just a cargo flight. Obviously, there's going to be flights where people have got to be moved. But if you're just moving freight, why on earth expose the pilot to that risk?